Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. If this is your first time to the channel, I'd like to welcome you guys here and would encourage you now, if you are a returning visitor, to click on that watermark down there in the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. And if you are following me on BitChute and or DTube, be sure to give me a follow and subscribe there as well. In gaming news this week, Infinity Ward came out with the new Season 1 and Patch 1.01 for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You guys can check out that video up here in the top right-hand corner. I have to say it was a pretty nice release. It wasn't entirely what some people had anticipated, but I go into all the details there in the video, so you guys, of course, are welcome to check that out. This week we learned that Kamala Harris has now dropped out of the 2020 presidential race, citing that she did not have the funds to continue, but more specifically, she didn't have the donations to help support her. And of course, we now see the progressives are going to be scratching their heads because now they are left with particular candidates who are the front runners, which means that you have two elderly white rich men and one white female. So it's going to be interesting how the progressives react to this news, as we have seen some particular talk. But as we know, and as we have discussed here, there isn't any one candidate within the Democratic Party that's generating any excitement or enthusiasm for the party. And so the impeachment inquiry continues, although this is a bridge to nowhere. Although this is the strategy of the Democrats, and that is to engage in partisan politics and to make President Trump look as negative and as bad as possible so that they can at least hope that one of these frontrunner candidates, which has always been Joe Biden, he's the particular target candidate, but you never know what can happen to him, and he's had his own set of issues and his own set of problems. But again, guys, you have two elderly men in their 70s who are looking to try to take over as president, and they themselves aren't even showing the sense of vitality, the energy, the enthusiasm that Donald Trump has, or that as President Trump is able to raise. So, of course, you have Elizabeth Warren, and she has her own issues, but on the debate stage with Donald Trump, who is the incumbent president, who can simply say things like, we have a good economy, unemployment is low, we're making changes in foreign policies, we're producing production and manufacturing and everything within the United States is increasing. We're also working on trade deals. He had the meeting with Kim Jong-un, one of the first presidents to actually engage and do that, and a president who first stepped into North Korea. You have a host of things that President Trump can point to while he's on that debate stage with any of these candidates. And what do any of these particular candidates have to offer? As a matter of fact, I would argue that if there was any level of enthusiasm with any of these candidates, the media would be jumping behind them. As a matter of fact, have you seen Obama even come to any form of support for his former VP? Or even Hillary Clinton, has she really gotten in there and tried to get behind any particular candidate as she kind of pokes and prods and puts out feelers to kind of see what's going on? The Democrats are in a really big mess right now. And even if you look at, Peter Buttigieg or even Cory Booker, Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, Amy Klobuchar, a lot of them are just kind of hanging on there for name recognition. They are getting decent donations and they're getting decent funding. Of course, Andrew has his own source of income, of course, to help him along. But nonetheless, we'll eventually see all these individuals drop out because the front runner is going to be Joe Biden. That is the face of the Democratic Party. And unfortunately, there just isn't the level of enthusiasm. There isn't the level of drive. The media isn't particularly covering any one candidate and pushing any one of them in any one direction. So it's going to be curious to see how this starts to play out. Because again, the objective of the Democrats here is to make Trump look as bad as possible, to essentially vote for anyone other than Trump. Now, I'll leave you additional information about Kamala down there in the published section below. In channel news, we are learning through the community that there will be another massive change on December the 10th. Now, this is not going to be part of COPPA that we talked about before. That's going to take place on January the 1st, 2020. But as we have discussed in the past, there is going to be perhaps some sort of rule set purge involving channels that aren't commercially viable. Now, for the last few weeks, we have here on the channel have not been hit with any limited ads, as in particular topics that I cover will sometimes get limited advertisement, so it puts it in a limited state, and that's what we want to try to avoid. Unfortunately, there are topics of interest that I would like to bring to you guys, but unfortunately recently I've had to limit what those topics are because of just general political or other elements to YouTube's AI that they have made changes to that have made that kind of challenging. Now, I don't mind on occasion getting limited ad videos or even just removing monetization from videos, but again, we are looking at perhaps on December the 10th, the introduction or removal of channels that aren't commercially viable. So I want to try to avoid many of those as possible. Guys, if you haven't already, I want to encourage you now to click that like button as well, because the more engagement to the channel or the more engagement the videos get, the better. Now, you may also notice that views seem a little lower. There is a frozen or stuck view issue right now on YouTube as well. So when you guys see, like, say, a video at 45, it may actually be at 50, or it might actually be at 64. But because they're doing frozen videos, I'm a little wondering, or a little something, I was gonna say a little concerned, but not so much concerned, but just wondering why that's going on. So there's things going on within the community that has kind of had me temper some of the things that we cover here on the Friday vlog. Thankfully, I have Call of Duty. That's a live game that's out there that I've been able to present to you guys and introduce to the channel. So thank you all for your guys' support of that particular content, and of course for the continued participation here on the Friday vlogs. And that's going to kind of be the channel summary outline for right now, and we'll probably go into it more after December the 10th. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you so much for your continued support, as mentioned there in that last segment. If you haven't already, guys, right there on the screen, you will see the channel icon appearing right there to subscribe, along with notifications. That way you guys will know when Friday vlog and additional content is here on the channel. If you are following this on BitChute and or DTube, be sure to give me a subscribe and follow there as well. And I will see you guys right there behind the camera next week.